Okay, we are live, Bhavani. Hi,
Hi.
Facebook friends. Hi. So today I'm so excited to have Bhavani Peresami. She is a gratitude advocate. That's a very interesting title. And she's also a speaker coach. She's from Malaysia. She is also the president of Malaysian Association of Professional Speakers, more well known as MAPS. Today we're going to talk about gratitude, and we're not going to talk about gratitude for yourself, but how do you bring this to work, right? In your business, in your office, every day. So, Bhavani, we know
Okay.
gratitude as being thankful and saying thank you. I'm curious, is there more to it than just thank yous?
Okay. Thanks, Dean. That's a very, very good question. I think this week itself, that question has come up a few times. So what is the big deal out of gratitude? And I'm going to just go on a generalization basis here. To many, right? This whole thankfulness and gratitude is like a ritual, a day-to-day thing. Okay, before I sleep, maybe I'll find three things to be grateful for. But
Mhm.
what I am trying to advocate or try to get people into is to be into the state of being. That means your state of being is a grateful state, gratitude state. And yes, some people may say that that's impossible. Stuff happens to you. Yes, it does. But it's how you manage and how you return back to that state of being, that gratitude state of being.
So, tell me more about this state of being. How is it different from just reminding yourself to say thank you? Can you share a little bit more about that?
Okay, let's take something that we do on a day-to-day basis, and this
Mhm.
applies whether you're at home, at work, in the community. You see, and especially all of us, I think from small we are taught to say thank you. You know, when you see little kids, parents are always prompting them. What do you say? You say thank
Mm,
you.
mm.
So sometimes thank you is like it's part of a ritual, or it's an expected thing to say when
So it's a social
something.
expectations, you're saying.
Yes, correct. That's what I
So
was
it's
looking for.
social expectation, it is not really sincere. It doesn't come from the heart.
Um, you're saying it because you need to say it, but what I'm saying is you can add the depth to it, add the emotions and expression to it. For an example, if I just said hey Dean, thanks, and I move on, yeah, I've done my part to say thanks, and you felt that okay, she said thanks. But what if I changed it and said, hey Dean, thanks a lot for spending that 20 minutes with me, really really powerful. I really enjoyed the conversation. It just gave me that energy to go on. I think to a certain extent, I've expressed how I truly am grateful. And I should ask you now, Dean, how does that make you feel?
It definitely makes me feel a lot more appreciated. Yeah.
Yeah. So this whole state of being, it's not only about you. It affects the people around us. Because imagine the receiver, the receiving end. How
Mm.
would they actually feel when they have been appreciated? So
I definitely
gratitude
will feel
is
good. Yeah.
yeah. So gratitude is not about hey, I'm saying thankful for that cup of coffee. Someone bought me lunch, but it's also, I think, an action that you should show, you should
Mhm.
appreciate, because you're validating what someone has done for you. And it's not always something that you attach to a monetary figure, but an act of kindness. Perhaps, yeah, that's what I want to say. Appreciate that act of kindness, because
So, so I hear what you're saying is that it is not just about saying the thank you, but extend it and say what is already quite obvious. For example, let's say if you did something nice to me, I don't just say, oh, thank you. I must say thank you for doing this and this and this, whatever that you have done to me
I
or
wouldn't
for me.
say must, but it shows how much you
I mean,
appreciate the
yeah,
act.
because when you extend your thank you, or rather expand your thank you, then the person hears it from externally, right? And that makes the person feel good, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and this is what I mean of being, whether it's at home, even at work. The whole culture at work is sometimes fast paced, fighting fire, projects after projects, due dates, timelines.
Mm.
You're left behind, but you can still inculcate this culture of appreciativeness. I still remember when I was working, and my bosses, they would take the time to say, you know what, thank you for asking that question. I didn't know you didn't know that. And
Mm.
it made
Mm.
me feel glad. It didn't make me feel guilty for going and asking what I thought was a silly question. And in return, I will also say, thank you for, giving me that 5 minutes, whether it's by the lift when I'm running after them or whatever. So it can be a culture. A culture of appreciativeness, I think, goes a long way to boost morale in workplace, even at home,
Hmm.
society, where
So
we
how do you
are.
think it will? You see, I always see it as at work we use a different part of ourselves. We
Mm-hmm,
usually have our guards up. For
mm-hmm.
those who don't have their guards up at work, then they are in a really good place. So, how do you think that this practice or this culture of expanding our thank you can change things at the office or
Uh,
change your relationship with your stakeholders, your clients, or your vendors? Whatnot?
I think you don't have to do too many things differently. I know we all have
Hmm.
our way of being. Just add on whatever that is being done or being done for you. Just be sincere and take the time to say thank you, and not take it for granted that it's there for us. You see,
Okay, so
for
this is a
next.
challenge. This is a challenge. So now you are asking, let's say me, right? If
Mm-hmm.
I don't have that habit, I now want to inculcate a new habit. It's going to be a challenge because I will default to my usual habit, right? So what is the one or two things I can do to remind myself, trigger me to actually expand my thank you?
Okay. Again, I'll go back to the state of being. Do not have to purposefully do it at work, but
Mm.
start where you are when you go to the shop, everywhere around you. Then it becomes a habit within you. So whether you're at work, you're with a client, wherever you are, it it will be part of you. So you don't
Okay,
have to go
so
to the office and say today I must be thankful.
that's very good.
But
A
I
question
rather
came
that.
up in my mind. Very interesting. What if I'm working with someone I don't like, and it's very
Mhm.
difficult for me to say thank you to this person beyond, expanding a thank you. How can I, have the mindset to even express proper gratitude, even though this person I have conflict with or, you know,
Thanks,
don't
Eugene.
really
I,
like it?
I, I can really, really resonate with that. The one thing that helped me was Gandhi had this saying, hate the sin, love the sinner.
Mm,
So, and this is something that I had an initial struggle with. But what I learned to do was to take an act and a person off the equation. So you see, when I have had challenges with people and all, but
mm.
as much as it's so tough, there's still some good characteristics in them which may not resonate with you, especially when it's at working place or wherever it is. You may not see it, but there is. So
So
you are thankful to the act that they're doing.
exactly. So you're saying that it is not the person that you're thanking, it is the
The
act
act.
of kindness that you are thanking, and take the person out of the equation.
Because
And I
something still
also,
has been done for you. Something still has been done for you.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So you
So how
acknowledge
can
the
you not?
kindness,
Yeah.
regardless
So
of who's doing it, right? And regardless of your own ego, because a lot of time the conflict between two persons is because of our ego and not much
yeah,
else.
there's this
Right?
famous quote that has been going around for a while. You treat the janitor and the CEO the same way.
Exactly. With the
So
same respect, or I think that's what they're trying to say, right?
yeah, it's correct. So whoever it is, an act of kindness has been done for you. So I think as mankind, as a human, we should appreciate that act of kindness.
And you know what? This is really good now that we are all on lockdown. Only the
Uh-huh.
essential services people are out there doing their job. So you know now who are the people that we should be thanking, not just on our Facebooks, but to them, right? And
I very
I
very
hope
true.
I hope I will remember to thank them when I see them after this pandemic.
Uh,
It's easy to say it when we are in it, but when it's after.
we
Mm.
took things for granted. The first week of what we call MCO in Malaysia, I saw the garbage collectors on the road, and I was thinking, goodness, if they were restricted and not allowed to work, what's going to
They,
happen to all
what if
our
they choose not to work for the sake of their health,
uh,
right?
yeah. And right
Yeah.
now, those who are working, the mini markets, supermarkets, market, those who are the essential services,
Yeah.
Are
And
they
they're
lucky
exposed.
poor?
I mean, I look
Yeah, and they're
at the
exposed.
supermarket cashiers who have to probably see thousands of people and now panic buying, waves and
Yep.
waves of panic buying. So you can just imagine what they have to go through, and they're not exactly young. So they are more of the vulnerable, range
Can
of
you
age.
imagine your bubble tea girl or guy? How many people they will be
Oh,
seeing
in
a day?
Singapore, we just closed all bubble tea. So there was a rush for bubble tea, the last bout of drinking bubble tea, and now it's gone, at least up to May 4th. Okay, let's talk about gratitude and resilience. Is
Hmm.
gratitude part of resilience? It sounds like it, but I want to hear your opinion.
I think gratitude helps for us to move past or to weather through it. Because again, I'll tie it back to a state of being. Even at the toughest moment, there is always something to be grateful for, and you will not be able to grasp it at that high peak where you're
Mm,
stressed out or whatever.
mm,
But you just got to ask yourself sometimes, what's the worst that can happen?
mm.
There's so much of things that I have to be thankful for. And
So
what's
it
next?
sounds like you're saying that even in the worst situation, like you feel like, uh, you know,
Even right
it's
now,
so
we are
hard
all
to
faced
hold
with
on to
uncertainty.
hope. It's so hard to hold on to hope that we need to take a deep breath in, take that moment, pause, and say, what can I be thankful for now? Right?
That deep breath, that itself is something to be thankful for because you can breathe on your own without
Actually,
even
yeah, 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 yeah. I remember one wise person. I can't remember what is his name. I was watching on YouTube. I think his name was Sadhguru. So
uh-huh.
he's very famous in India, right? So I happened
Yeah.
to see it. And he said that, at the end of it, when you are out of breath, at that point, you don't think about your money, you don't think about your material possession, you don't think about anything, you don't even think about your loved ones, you only think about getting that breath. So what you said is so true. If everything seems to going down the dump, you know that you still can breathe, and that is something that we can be thankful for.
This is
So
something that I actually learned from Tony Robbins because Tony Robbins always said, "Put your hand on your heart. The moment you feel your heart beating,
heartbeat.
that's a
Mm.
big your heartbeat. That's the biggest gift of life. That's God's gift to you. You don't have to beg for it,
Absolutely.
steal for it.
And has been beating since we were born.
Yeah,
And never stopped, even when we sleep, right?
yeah,
Okay.
and I just want to add one more thing here. I don't want to go into too many scientific things because I'm not an expert in the scientific area, but gratitude, appreciation are all known to be hormones that actually help your body
That's right. Okay, tell me
scientifically.
more. Yeah, yeah.
Um, in many ways, appreciation, gratitude actually removes or lowers resistance, stress. And like I
Cortisol.
said,
There's the
I'm
hormone cortisol, right?
uh,
Yeah.
yep. So gratitude is known as a good hormone,
Mm.
whereas worry, fear, and all are the opposite of it. So again, I'm
So
not going to
in
go
that,
into the medical terminologies of it, but no, in a layman's term, that's what gratitude does to the body because it affects our state of being. Just spend 5 minutes of finding all the best things that has ever happened to you, and just rejoice in that moment and see how you feel. You just feel at the top of the world,
and you
and
feel more
instantly,
hopeful, right?
yeah,
And
your
when
mood
you are
changes.
solving,
Your mood changes.
yeah, and if you're faced with a very difficult or very, very big challenge, I think being grateful, practicing gratitude will open up your mind to new ways of solving the problem, right? New ways of moving forward,
The
right?
more you are grateful for, the
And I
more
think
you
what
have
you
to
said
be
is right.
grateful.
I think
Mhm.
the reason why our mind open up is because when you are being grateful, our body produces those good feel good
Hormone.
hormones,
Yep.
and that opens up the mind,
Yep.
right? I'm not a scientist, you're not a scientist, but we are
Yeah.
just connecting the dots,
So
right?
just
Okay.
being going on the general layman term because
Yeah.
fear narrows down your thinking abilities. Um, your brain will just be focused on an issue or a problem. So you're
Okay.
not
So
able to expand.
so good. So we made the point that gratitude is very much a component of being resilient, of resilience. So if you want to be a resilient person, start with gratitude because it's so easy to practice. I just want to move on to the next one, something that we
Mhm.
talked about just before we came live.
Yeah.
It's about digitalization of gratitude, which is digitalization makes we can scale our gratitude so easy. Create one message and then just send it to everyone. But I remember you were saying that, wait, people are not that shallow, they can tell. So tell me more about that.
Okay, your Raya is coming up very, very
Yes.
soon. How many cards do you receive at home right now?
0.
Yeah, I remember back in many, many years ago, my parents used to receive like,
That's
I don't
right.
know,
And we used to
tons
hang
of
around the house.
Deepavali cards. And I know people who actually have to buy cards to use it as decor right now. See, for me, in a sense, nothing wrong. It is a digital world right now. But you know what? You can just go online, do a poster, and randomly send to all your groups and 100 over people. There's just no personalization, and there's nothing wrong to it.
It's nothing wrong, but it can be done in a better way,
Better,
right?
yes.
Yeah. So tell me, how do you think it can be done better? Okay, well, before you say that,
Okay.
so guys, if you're watching, Bhavani how, said something that I just want to pose this question to you. Are you guilty of shortening your gratitude with a TQ, or some of us will say TY, right? Or BR is supposed to be best regards. That's supposed to be a nice thing, but because you abbreviated it, the meaning and the sense of
Again,
it is lost. So
Dean,
again, it's coming to something like it's just a social practice, and
obligations.
there's no meaning to it. Yes. Tell me
Um,
about that.
Again, there's nothing wrong to it. You are fulfilling all the social obligations by replying with BR or TQ or whatever it is. But imagine if you just take that extra 10 or 15 seconds to really say, hey, thank you so much, this means a lot to me. Hey, thank you so much, I really appreciate your reply. Just few
And
extra.
I agree with you from the very first point that you made. It is about expanding your thank yous. So if you are one of them, I'm talking to those who are watching. If you're one of them who kind of take the shortcut to say TQ or TY, then it's time to expand it back to its original and then expand it further to why you're saying thank you. Correct or not?
It gives a depth to that meaning. It just gives that
Yeah.
extra
Yeah.
feel to it, like, oh yeah, it just feels good to the receiver to know that something simple that you have done actually means a lot to that person.
Yeah.
So again, nothing wrong. I don't want people to come and say, Dean, Bhavani, you are wrong. What's wrong with nothing is wrong. But
No, that
10
is
15 minutes seconds extra means a lot to someone.
so we are very clear here. There is one thing that is a social obligation,
Patience.
and another one to change that social or bring that social obligation to the higher level of showing real appreciation, right? And you can
Yep.
show real appreciation all the time. There is no way you can say I'm too busy to show real appreciation.
Yep. I just don't know how else to say, this beautiful word, thank you. It it makes a big difference. It really does. Just try 1 week going around thanking people and just telling them how something has helped you, what they have done, whatever it is, and just see how people just brighten up. It really does. It will be
Yeah, so
amazing.
since Hari Raya is coming up, let's see how many of us will be sending those gifts, or what do you call that? My images, the
The
e-cards
posters and all, yeah.
around, and not include a personalized message. So this year, I'm going to include a personalized message to each one of my friends who are celebrating, and I want to see how many of them will send similar to me, because most of the time, no. And
Yeah,
I
because
feel,
even
yeah,
in a group message, right? The tendency is for you to just do craft one message and not reflect
customize it, right?
the group to you. Yeah, like for an example, we are part of speakers groups and all that. um, Personalize it to something about speakers or how that group has benefited you or whatever it is, or not. It's just you know it's a cut and paste that's been circulating around.
And I can see the difference in reaction, because when you cut and paste or when you just forward, people just, okay, it's nice. But when you make it contextualized, you make it customized, then people will actually respond and say something nice, right? And that's
So
what
for
you
an
want.
example, I can send an image of ketupat and just say Selamat Hari Raya Din.
Yes.
No, just Selamat Hari Raya because I copy and paste. Or I can say, hey Dean, Selamat Hari Raya from me in Malaysia. I know it's a tough time, but stay safe. Hope to see you when I come to Singapore next time.
And no visiting because all are locked down.
And you know that I personalize that message to you because
Yes.
it shows you are in Singapore, I'm in Malaysia.
Yeah.
I wrote that message specifically to you.
And how difficult can that be, right? You don't even the way I said, you can have a few templates and then just make it, customize it
Customize
as
it.
you go along, and which
I
means
once
you
upon
are
a
not going
time,
to, no, which means you are not going to be sending to a lot of people, but it doesn't matter because every message that you send is real.
can you imagine? Once upon a time, people wrote cards, hundreds of it, one by one.
Actually,
The message, and then on the envelope. So why not? We're not spending equal that amount of time,
and
but
going to the post office to post it.
yeah.
Yes.
So again, people think that this is all small cliche matters, but it's all the small little things that really matters in a big way, especially in this digital era.
Mm,
Really,
mm.
it's what I said. We are losing sometimes that human touch in us with all this texting and all this and words. No, I can't even tell you. Words are so, it brings a lot of emotions, even whatever that we type on our chat messages or
And we
social
are not
media.
even asking for some like really fancy words, right? It's
I'm not asking
really,
for a poem.
yeah, yeah. We are not asking for difficult words,
Yeah.
4 syllable words. It's just simple, straight from the heart. Even if it's a broken language, whatever language you're using, even if it's broken, but I know it's coming from your heart, that you're sincere, and that what matters, right?
And
So
I
yeah,
think we have an obligation in the world that we live in. Gratitude is just all not about us. It's also about what we contribute back to this world. So you are part of the chain of the whole gratitude. You receive and you give.
yeah. And I think in closing, I want to
Yep.
kind of bring it back to how gratitude can spread. We have seen how the virus has spread.
Oh yes, very
Yes.
beautifully
Beautifully, okay, in a way, right? We
in its
now
own
see it,
way.
we now see it with our own eyes how it can spread across countries, across the globe. Nothing can stop it. So I want to see that gratitude can, now I want people to see that gratitude can also spread that way.
It's a contagious energy if you
It's
look at it.
contagious energy. It's a positive contagious energy. Though, we don't want to talk about contagion now, but
Like, okay, not
let's
in that
spread.
context.
Yeah,
Yeah.
let's spread that now. And all it takes is an extra, I won't even say 5 seconds. I think it just takes extra 2 seconds to expand your thank you.
Yeah. And
So,
I think sometimes just drop the ego. No matter what you
so
are, who
focus
you
on
are,
the
where you
act.
are.
So focus on the act of kindness and not the person, right? And
Yeah.
everything will be
And
fine.
and I would always equate gratitude as an act of kindness because the more you appreciate, it's going to go around. It's a chain reaction.
Yeah.
The
And
person
you know
who
what?
feels
I think
appreciated.
if at work there is a colleague that you're not very close to because of some tension, because you expanded your thank you, they might just end up being nicer to you and you will become nicer to them, and then the conflict will dissolve. I know it's very
Even if
simplistic, but
even if they are not nicer to you, they may not be
as bad.
as bad.
It's all
Yeah.
relative. It's all
Yep.
relative.
Correct.
Right. Okay. So final words, Bhavani.
Final words, I can just ask of this, please always say thank you. I know thank you is such a simple word and things that we always take it for granted, and people around us will always say, hey, we are friends, no need thank you among us. But I would say that's even more important, so that you know you are not taking someone for granted. Always say thank you, whether it's your child, your spouse, your siblings, your parents, your community, whoever it is. Always remember to appreciate them and validate them for whatever act of kindness that they have done to you. It
Even
goes
if
a,
it's just a small one, right? Yeah.
yeah. even if it's a small one.
Okay, so guys, you're watching. If you like the message, make sure you share this interview on your wall and get people to share it on their wall so that it can spread. All right.
Thank
All
you
right.
so
So
much, Dean. I
with that,
really, really enjoyed
thank you,
this.
Bhavani.
Thank you so
It's really
much.
nice. Bye.
Bye bye.